Our next lecture of clinical pathology is megaloblastic anemia. These are the anemias associated with macrocytic blood picture and megaloblastic erythropoiesis. This we will discuss in detail later. This group is due to deficiency of vitamin B12 and or folate. The megaloblastic anemias are disorders caused by impaired DNA synthesis and are characterized by a distinctive abnormality in the hematopoietic precursor in the bone marrow, in which the maturation of nucleus is delayed relative to that of the cytoplasm. So the precursor tend to be larger, which is known as megaloblast. Megaloblasts are both morphologically and functionally abnormal, with the result that the mature red cells formed from megaloblast and released into the peripheral blood are also abnormal in shape and size, and the most prominent abnormality is being macrocytosis. So first we will discuss vitamin B12 metabolism. Biochemically it is known as cobalamin and it contains cobalt atoms situated within corine ring. In humans there are two metabolically active forms of vitamin B12, methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin. Therapeutically available form is cyanocobalamin. Now sources of vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is available from food of animal protein origin such as kidney, liver, fish, eggs, and in case of vegetarian meal it is available from cheese and milk. In contrast to folate, fruits and vegetables contain practically no vitamin B12. Then absorption. After ingestion of vitamin B12, it makes stable complex with gastric R binder. Gastric R binder is a form of glycoprotein found in various secretions like saliva, gastric juice and bile. On entering duodenum, vitamin B12 R binder complex digested and released vitamin B12 binds with intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is also a glycoprotein which is released from parietal cells of stomach, and its secretion is roughly parallel to that of hydrochloric acid. In distal ileum, the vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor complex binds with receptors on mucosal brush border and vitamin B12 complex is absorbed. After several hours, intrinsic factor is destroyed and released vitamin B12 transferred to transfer protein transcobalamin 2. There are two major vitamin B12 binding protein, transcobalamin 1 and transcobalamin 2, and a minor protein transcobalamin 3. 1 is not essential for B12 transport and 3 is similar to 2, but it binds a small amount of vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 and transcobalamin 2 finally secreted into portal circulation where it is taken up by liver, bone marrow and other cells. Now functions of B12. B12 act as a coenzyme for two main biochemical reactions. Firstly as methylcobalamin in the methylation of homocysteine to methionine by methyl tetrahydrofolate. The homocysteine methionine reaction is closely linked to folate metabolism also. So when this reaction is impaired, folate metabolism is deranged, and this results in defective DNA synthesis which is responsible for megaloblastic maturation. Secondly as adenosylcobalamin in propionate metabolism for the conversion of methylmalonyl coenzyme A to succinyl coenzyme A. Lack of adenosyl B12 leads to large increase in the level of methylmalonyl coenzyme and its precursor propionyl coenzyme CoA. This result in synthesis of certain fatty acids which are incorporated into the neuronal lipid. This biochemical abnormality may contribute to the neurological complications of vitamin B12 deficiency. Now coming to folate metabolism. Chemical name is steroyl glutamic acid and they exist as folates in polyglutamate form. The sources of folic acids are fresh green leafy vegetables, fruits, liver and kidney. The folic acid is liable and largely destroyed by cooking. Daily requirement is 100 to 200 microgram per day and body stores about 10 to 12 milligram mainly in liver again, which is enough for about 4 months. Absorption is mainly occur through duodenum and upper jejunum. Polyglutamate first cleaved by folate conjugase enzyme into mono and diglutamates. They undergo further reduction in the mucosal cell to form tetrahydrofolate. Tetrahydrofolate circulates in plasma as a methylated compound that is known as methyl tetrahydrofolate. Function: it acts as a coenzyme for two important biochemical reactions which involves transfer of one carbon unit to various other compounds. Thymidylate synthetase reaction: formation of deoxythymidylate monophosphate from its precursor from deoxyuridylate monophosphate. Methylation of homocysteine to methionine. This reaction is linked to vitamin B12 metabolism also, as we have already discussed. So here you can see there is very close link of folate metabolism and vitamin B12 metabolism, and it is ultimately lead to DNA synthesis. Now etiology of megaloblastic anemia. First is vitamin B12 deficiency. It may be because of inadequate dietary intake, like in strict vegetarians, breastfed infants. In malabsorption, which may be of gastric cause or intestinal cause. In gastric causes, there will be a pernicious anemia, gastrectomy, or congenital lack of intrinsic factor at cause. Or in intestinal causes, it includes tropical sprue, ileal resection, Crohn's disease, intestinal blind loop syndrome, and fish tapeworm infestation. This is very frequently asked question, that which parasite causes anemia or which parasite causes megaloblastic anemia. So the answer is fish tapeworm or Diphyllobothrium latum. That is the another name of this worm or this parasite. Second cause is folate deficiency, which may be because of inadequate dietary intake, that is in alcoholics, teenagers, infants, old age, or in poverty. Malabsorption, again same causes as we have seen in B12 deficiency. Then excess demand, which may be physiological, like in pregnancy, lactation, and infancy, or it may be pathological, like it is seen in malignancy, increased hematopoiesis, or tuberculosis or rheumatoid arthritis. Even excess urinary folate loss can lead to folate deficiency, like in active liver disease or congestive heart failure. Other causes include impaired metabolism, which is because of presence of inhibitors of dihydrofolate reductase, such as drugs like methotrexate and pyrimethamine, alcohol, and congenital enzyme deficiency, or unknown etiology, like in D. Guglielmo syndrome, congenital dyserythropoietic anemia, or refractory megaloblastic anemia. So that is about etiology of megaloblastic anemias. Now clinical feature. First is anemia. Macrocytic megaloblastic anemia is the cardinal feature. It is insidious and gradually progressive in nature. Then patient may present with glossitis, which is smooth beefy red tongue. Then neurological manifestation, which includes subacute combined degeneration of spinal cord and peripheral neuropathy. The reason behind this is demyelination of peripheral nerve and spinal cord. Signs and symptoms include numbness, paresthesia, weakness, ataxia, poor finger coordination, and diminished reflexes. Others include mild jaundice, angular stomatitis, weight loss, and anorexia. Now, lab investigations are divided into two: general investigation and special test to establish the cause of the megaloblastic anemia. So, general investigation includes blood picture and indices, where we will see hemoglobin, which is generally low. Then red cells will show macrocytosis, macroovalocytosis, anisocytosis, poikilocytosis, basophilic stippling, and occasional erythroblast. Now macrocytosis can be seen in other conditions also, like in hemolysis, liver disease, chronic alcoholism, hypothyroidism, etc. But macroovalocytosis is very specific for megaloblastic anemia, where RBCs are larger in size and oval in shape. So they are known as macroovalocyte. Then reticulocyte count will be low to normal. Red cell indices, MCV, is raised. Mean corpuscular volume is raised. It is normally between 77 to 93 femtoliter. But in megaloblastic anemia, it is raised, and we can see values above 120 femtoliter also. So MCV suggests the size of the RBC. Here the RBCs are macrocytic. Size is raised. MCV is raised. There is elevated MCH, there is normal to reduced MCH. In leukocytes, you may see reduced total count and hypersegmented neutrophil. So the presence of hypersegmented neutrophil in the blood film should raise the suspicion of megaloblastic anemia. So this is a picture diagram of red cell morphology. Here you can see the normal red cell and here you can see macrocytic red cell. The size is more than the normal RBC if you compare it. But how will you say that the cell is macrocytic in peripheral blood, where you have no indices, you have no MCV, where you cannot measure the size of the RBC? So we can use the nuclei of small lymphocyte as a reference to measure the size of RBC. If the size is same as the nucleus of small lymphocyte, it is normocytic. If size is more than the nucleus of small lymphocyte, it is macrocytic, and if size is less, then it is microcytic. So indices MCV and MCH raised here, MCHC normal or decrease. And in marrow erythropoiesis, you will see megaloblastic erythropoiesis. In contrast to iron deficiency anemia, where we have seen that there will be a micronormoblastic erythropoiesis. Here we have megaloblastic erythropoiesis. Marrow iron stores are increased. The platelets are moderately reduced in peripheral blood examination. Then bone marrow findings in detail. Marrow cellularity. Marrow is generally hypercellular with decreased myeloid to erythroid ratio. Erythropoiesis is of megaloblastic type. So megaloblast is an abnormal large nucleated erythrocyte precursor having nuclear cytoplasmic asynchrony. So what is that? The nuclei are less mature than the development of cytoplasm. That is known as nuclear cytoplasmic asynchrony. The nuclei are large, having fine sieve-like open chromatin that stain lightly, while the hemoglobinization of the cytoplasm proceeds normally or at a faster rate. So there is nuclear maturation lags behind that of cytoplasm. Other cells are giant metamyelocytes and band cells, which are precursor of neutrophil. So you can see giant metamyelocytes and giant band cells in the bone marrow. This is a picture of peripheral blood smear. Here you can see that there is a hypersegmented neutrophil, there is macrocytes, then there is presence of inclusion bodies like Howell-Jolly body, basophilic stippling and Cabot ring. Howell-Jolly body is a DNA remnant and it can be seen as a single dark purple or blue color inclusion. Basophilic stippling, here you can see very small fine stippling in the RBC. Cabot ring is a mitotic spindle. It can be seen in the round or oval shape or in the shape of 8. So these are the classic picture of megaloblastic anemia. Macrocytes, macrovelocytes, hypersegmented neutrophil. Now what is hypersegmented neutrophil? Neutrophil normally has 2 to 5 lobes of nuclei. If there are more than 5 lobes in the nuclei of neutrophil, it is called hypersegmented neutrophil. Here you can see there are more than 5 lobes of nuclei in the neutrophil. So that is hypersegmented neutrophil. Whenever you see a hypersegmented neutrophil in peripheral blood, you should raise the suspicion of megaloblastic anemia. Then bone marrow aspirate smear. Here you can see megaloblast. Here you can see that the cytoplasmic maturation is normal, hemoglobinization of cytoplasm is normal, but the nuclei are still large, open chromatin, sieve-like chromatin. So they are known as megaloblast. So this is about general investigation for megaloblastic anemia, which include blood picture and marrow. Now special investigation include test for vitamin B12 and test for folate deficiency. Normal level of vitamin B12 is 282,000 picogram per ml and normal level of folate is 6 to 18 nanogram per ml. So which are the tests used for B12? Serum vitamin B12 assay, Schilling test, serum enzyme level, Which enzymes? Methylmalonic acid and homocysteine. Test for folate deficiency include urinary excretion of FIGLU, which we will discuss in detail, serum folate assay and red cell folate assay. Now first is serum vitamin B12 assay. It can be done by two methods, microbiological and radioassay. In microbiological assay, test serum is added to media which contains all other essential growth factors which are required for vitamin B12 dependent microorganism. Euglena gracilis is more sensitive and accurate among several organisms used. Then second is radioassay. It may be may be done by radioisotope dilution assay, radioimmunoassay, and this test is rapid, sensitive and simple. Then Schilling test. Schilling test detects vitamin B12 deficiency as well as it distinguishes and detects lack of intrinsic factor and malabsorption syndrome. Radioisotope used for labeling B12 is either cobalt 57 or cobalt 58. So here we use labeled vitamin B12. How? So in part 1, which is a test done without use of intrinsic factor. So in the part 1 of Schilling test, after overnight fasting, 1 milligram of oral dose of radioactively labeled vitamin B12 with water is administered. At the same time, 1 milligram of unlabeled vitamin B12. Unlabeled is known as cold vitamin B12 and radioactive labeled vitamin B12 is known as hot B12. So at the same time, 1 milligram of unlabeled vitamin B12 is administered intramuscularly. So this intramuscular injected vitamin B12 will saturate serum as well as tissue binding sites to create excess vitamin circulate. If parenteral administration is not done, orally administered radio-labeled vitamin will be taken up in case of dietary deficiency and little will be excreted. Urine is collected over next 24 hours. After this, ingestion, oral ingestion as well as parenteral or intramuscular injection. If urinary excretion is more than 10% of oral dose of hot vitamin B12, that means radio-labeled B12, it indicates normal absorption. So there is only dietary deficiency. Low urinary excretion rules out dietary deficiency and it is due to poor absorption of vitamin B12, which could be from intrinsic factor deficiency or from malabsorption. So to distinguish that, we will do stage 2. In stage 2, after low excretion of vitamin B12, test is repeated using the same procedure as in stage 1, but with high oral dose of intrinsic factor. If 24-hour excretion of hot B12 or radio-labeled B12 is now normal or high, it is diagnostic of intrinsic factor deficiency. So if after giving intrinsic factor, the excretion, urinary excretion is normal, then the patient will be diagnosed as having intrinsic factor deficiency. If excretion is low, then deficiency is due to malabsorption. Now the test for folate deficiency. The urinary excretion of FIGLU will measure the urinary excretion of formiminoglutamate acid. Folic acid is required for conversion of formiminoglutamate acid to glutamic acid in histidine catabolism. So if there is absence of folic acid, there will be an excess excretion of FIGLU in the urine. Then serum folate assay may be done by two methods, again same as B12, microbiological assay and radioassay. Here the bacteria or microorganism used is Lactobacillus casei. Then red cell folate level can also be measured. It is a more reliable form than the serum folate assay. So that is all about the megaloblastic anemia. Thank you.